Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hello, my name is Shirley Merritt, and I'd like to welcome you to my show. I call it Raspberry Lemonade, Let's Talk. First, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for bringing me to this forum. This is a blessing. I would also like to thank the staff of MS&Me Radio for affording me this opportunity. I get to voice my opinions and my views with you all. I get to interview exciting guests. So thank you. Today we have a delightful guest. Her name is Giselle Kirkland. She basically she had a mother who also had MS. She's no longer with us, but we're going to talk with Giselle today, and she's going to share their story with us. I'm calling the topic MS within the family, the genetic factor. My guest is Giselle Kirkland. She's an MS warrior and a survivor. Hi, Giselle.
Hi, good afternoon, Shirley.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm doing just fine as well. Thank you for asking. Giselle, I want to start today, before we start talking about your mother, can you tell us about yourself? How old were you when you were first diagnosed, and what were your initial symptoms?
Okay, I was diagnosed at the age of 50. I'm 58 now, but that was my first alert on this horrible disease. Some of my symptoms were eating. I wasn't eating as much. I had bathroom and bowel problems. I was falling a lot also as well. I wasn't able to function the way I usually did. My hands, my legs. So I believe basically this is what gave me a alert button to press. Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. So,
yes.
when and how did you decide to go and seek out a neurologist or someone to do some kind? Maybe it was your primary doctor, who alerted you to seek a diagnosis or find out what was wrong with you.
Okay. First off, I wanted to let you know, and of course our audience, that before then I had a knee situation going on. So I started to investigate on that. After I had the surgery, because in the process of everything, and because the knee was giving me a problem, I think I wanted to find out what I can do, and I did. I basically did the surgery on the right knee. After that, I came home from rehab, the hospital rehab, and all of that. And so my therapist came over to see how I was doing and see how I was walking and how I was functioning. He looked at the way I was walking and said, "You're not walking as well as I, would think you should be spending the time in rehab." He suggested, and I took that alarming, you have one or two things going on, and I can tell this by the way you're walking. You might have lupus or you have multiple sclerosis. After which he suggested I see a neurologist, and I did.
Okay.
The neurologist at the time did the test, blood test, MRI, and that's when I was diagnosed.
With multiple sclerosis. Okay.
Yes.
So now let's kind of go reach backward and talk about your mother. Um, what did she die from? Just for my own curiosity, did she die from complications of MS or something
Yes.
else? She
She
did.
died of complications from the multiple sclerosis, yes.
Okay. How long, to your knowledge, like when was she diagnosed? Do you know what age she was?
I would say she was in her 60s.
Her 60s when she was
Yes,
diagnosed? When
she
and
was diagnosed.
okay. And when so what age were you?
Well, we will say approximately 20 years younger.
Then
So
now?
I would say anywhere, to narrow it down, anywhere from 34 maybe.
Okay.
And so I do believe she wasn't really diagnosed at first because the doctors did not know.
Okay.
I would go with her to her doctor's appointment. They did not know. I
Okay.
didn't know, nobody knew. What was this going on?
Yeah. So
There was no medicine out.
was she misdiagnosed?
No. It took them a very long time to try to search and find out what might be the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go take her to all her doctor's appointments. And so I was they didn't find out as fast as they did with me. You know, technology
Yeah.
and new ways of finding out.
Right.
So it was a miracle that they even tried to go there, or different aspects of what might be happening to her.
Mm-hmm.
So deterioration took a fast turn.
So so what so okay, so I'm just trying to do the math in my head. She was in her 60s. That was kind of a late diagnosis. Wow, but
Yes,
I understand you said she was having symptoms long before then. Um
yes, she was.
so and you said that was about 20 years ago. 20 to
Late
like you were maybe in your early 30s.
30s, right.
Okay.
And she was in her 60s, yes.
Okay. So does that mean she was diagnosed in the 90s?
Uh, yes.
Okay. So, all right. So, yeah. So what, symptoms, what visible symptoms? Because I understand she wasn't diagnosed, so you guys weren't aware that this was MS, but do you remember any of the visible symptoms that the things that were happening with her that caused her
Her,
to know something was wrong?
her walking,
Okay.
her talking,
Mm-hmm.
her functioning, her always dropping stuff,
Okay.
her also dropping.
Mm.
And so when I witnessed some of these things, my mind was like, what's going on? There's got
Right.
to be an answer.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Yes,
So,
those are some other things. Yes.
Okay. So was she having any problems with doing things for you all, taking care of you all, with maybe her hands and her fingers buttoning your clothes? Well, like when you were younger, or did everything start happening when you were already an adult?
Well, I say at that time, we were younger. She used to always try to braid our hair.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for my daddy, he knew how to braid hair.
Mm-hmm.
So he would do our hair, or he would do our homework with us. But she really didn't have the strength or the energy to do much of anything.
Okay.
And we pretty much, with his help, raised ourselves.
Wow. So does that mean she had a severe case of whatever? I understand you didn't know what was wrong yet. So does that mean she had a severe case of whatever was wrong?
I believe she had a progressive case. Now that I know what that means for some of us with MS, in time, it got bad. It got worse. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So, but by the time that so were you still living in the household when she was at her peak, or did that happen when you were an adult and she was closer to the older age?
No, I was staying there. My sister lived there, but I was staying there because I had already moved out. But she had asked me to come back home, and I did because I could see she needed more help, more assistance in a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
especially dealing with my sister, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came back to assist and to help and to.
And what age were you at this point?
I was in my 20s, late 20s, going into the 30s.
Oh,
So I left home at an early age, and I believe when I left home, things really started to multiply.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So when did what age did she start to have the real severe, problems?
Oh, wow. In her late 60s. Her late
Okay, so
60s,
so
sure.
she basically had MS for a long time without having severe problems.
I would say, like I did mention, progressive problems.
Yeah,
Things got worse in time.
yeah,
And so when it started, the things didn't seem so bad, but of course we didn't know what it was.
yeah.
But in time, still not knowing what it was, things got worse.
Mhm.
And so when we finally got the diagnosis, MS had made its travel. That's how I can say it.
So when she was diagnosed, it was at the end of her journey, right?
Yes, almost.
Wow.
Almost.
Yeah,
Almost. Yes.
because you said she died in her 60s, and you said it got worse in her 60s.
Yeah, she died when she turned 71,
Okay,
2001.
okay,
So I would say anywhere between 68, 69. Oof, it got really, really, really off.
right. Okay. So, can you tell me what were you feeling and thinking, or were you okay? Maybe I should start with your mother. Do you know now? I know you probably didn't know back then, but do you know now? Did your mother have a concern for you all? You know, it's genetic. There's a genetic and a hereditary factor. I don't know if she was aware of that, but did she have any concern, or did she convey that to you all or to your father, about you all? Like, because of course she didn't know yet that you were going to end up having it.
All I can say on that note, we all didn't know much of anything,
Right.
including the doctors. Was she concerned? I believe she was on the way to being concerned about us growing up and continuing. She didn't know about our health. She didn't know about her own.
Mm-hmm.
So what she taught me was more how to manage, how to take care of and be responsible for some of her business.
Right.
So I believe she knew something, but she didn't express it because we were all scared.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted me, since I was the oldest, and my sister is 7 years younger than I,
Mm-hmm.
wanted for me to understand not only what she was made of and how she handled things, she wanted me to get a whiff of just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So that I would know.
And she was more concerned about just in case something happens with her, because she didn't know that something could possibly, you guys could come down with it as well, right?
I believe she was not really in knowledge of we could come down with it because she didn't really know what the it was.
Okay.
Until later, she had already schooled me
Mm-hmm.
on how to handle certain situations if there is an if.
Okay.
So, I believe in her mind, because she didn't know what it was, it sure was scary.
Right.
And it was also scary and knowledgeable at the time what this could be.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. So now she's been diagnosed. So now you guys have a name, multiple sclerosis. Did she become inquisitive at all and want to find out what it was? Did
To a
you?
certain
Okay.
point, she did.
What
She
about
did.
you were an adult by this time? So what about you? Did you yourself? Because I'm assuming this was before you started having any symptoms, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started. She really started because she got into the MS Society on 23rd Street here in New York.
Okay.
23rd, and I believe 6th. I don't know if it's still there, between 6th and 7th. And she went to find out what is this multiple sclerosis.
Mm-hmm.
And she went there to talk with someone, and I went too because I wanted to know.
Okay.
And
that's understandable.
right, we didn't go to the doctors because they still didn't know. But we heard about and we tried to find out. And that's what she did.
Do you have siblings?
My sister.
You have one sister?
Yes, and the 3 brothers are from my father's other marriage.
Okay. So you have 4 siblings, and do any of them have MS?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
My 3 brothers, to my knowledge, don't. And my sister, to my knowledge, has something else going on.
Right.
But, no.
Okay. What ages are they?
Oh, my oldest brother on the other side is in his 40s. I believe my youngest brother, it might be in his late 30s. My sister is 50. She'll be 51 soon, in October.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, to my knowledge, I don't know if they have any of this going on.
And did I ask you, and please forgive me if I've already asked you this, do you have children?
One son, Terrence.
And how old
And
is,
to my knowledge, he doesn't. And then he's in his late 20s.
does he have any concern about that because of the fact that your mother had it and you have it? Does he show any concern to you?
Well, he shows concern. He's very much involved in a lot of my needs and questions, and he does listen to what I talk about and all the things I've learned between my mother and I. As far as I know, he does not have it.
Do you know if he's concerned about himself?
I believe he is, but I also believe he's trying to stay positive
Right.
as I am. He's trying to be supportive, you know.
Yeah.
And he really is a blessing with all of that because many people up and leave. As soon as you get sick or they hear about it, they're gone.
Right.
But he sticks in there with me, yes. Yes, indeed.
Have you lost friends, because of this?
Have I lost friends? Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, yes.
Yeah. So have I.
Yes,
So have
they
I.
up and leave quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Right. And so that means they're not true friends, right?
No, they're not. I just believe if you have 5 good friends, you got the whole world in your hands. But I've had a lot of friends, and most of them are gone. A lot of families have turned their backs.
Wow.
But it's okay. It's all right.
Well, now,
and that's the sad part.
Giselle, today, what are your symptoms today?
To tell you the truth, not as bad as they used to be. I'm happy to say that.
You don't have many symptoms? You don't have, is your MS invisible today?
I wouldn't say that,
Okay.
but I don't have as many symptoms as I used to.
Can you share with us what symptoms you do have?
Well, I do get tired. That's a symptom to me.
So you have fatigue.
Right.
Okay.
My legs.
Yeah.
The same leg I had surgery sometimes don't want to move.
So are you mobile? You don't have any visible disability?
No, I'm not mobile.
Okay, so
I'm not mobile at all.
So what are your symptoms? What are your disabilities?
Well, the walking.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
Well, I use a wheelchair.
Okay.
My standing isn't as good as I'd like it to be, but it is getting better.
Good. Do you do physical
I'm
therapy?
standing up longer, yes.
Okay. Are you involved in physical therapy?
I have a therapy routine for myself. I've done a lot of therapy at the places of like a rehab center, and I've learned a lot from them. I really have. And so I have my own little regimen early in the morning. I work better in the morning.
Okay. So
and I do my little exercises.
Okay.
I try to eat better. I love me some food. But there's some things you just can't do because it adds to inflammation and everything else.
Oh, yes, definitely. And inflammation is the culprit for us, right?
Yes, it is. And so I've changed a lot of things. I've changed my eating. I've changed my sleeping.
Okay.
I've changed my whole attitude.
Maybe I can get some tips and pointers from you on that because I have poor sleeping habits.
Yes, I sleep a certain way. I make sure I'm able to have my head upright a little bit, not much. My feet upright because I might acquire some swelling. That's if I've been a bad girl and have some salt.
Yeah.
But I don't have those things. I cook differently. I
Okay.
do things more healthy-wise. And I'm also a diabetic.
Oh, really? How do
Yes,
you?
but my doctor said my numbers are going down. So
Good.
I must be doing something right.
Right. Exactly. How do you? Is it hard to manage both ailments?
Well, Shirley, to tell you the truth, when I first diagnosed, everything seemed, my world just fell apart. So what I did, I talked to the man upstairs about it, of course. What is going on? And I slowly started to reconstruct me. I do things that are happier. I do things that I love. But best of all, I take better care of me. And to do that, yes, I have to listen to the doctors. Yes, I have to, even though I don't agree with it a lot of times, I have to try.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing, Shirley. I'm trying.
Right. So
Every
let me just interrupt you. I'm sorry, but we want to leave our listeners with something really positive, something from what you've learned from your journey. Can you tell us something quickly, like, just to leave with our listeners?
Sure. First of all, I want to tell everybody thank you for listening. And I'm sure Shirley will also say the same. Everybody is different. We all go through different aspects.
And let's wrap it up real fast.
Put God first.
Okay, great. Well, that's wonderful advice, Giselle. I want to thank you so much for being here with us. I'm sure that you have been a pleasure for our listeners, and we're going to sign off and say goodbye. Okay? Goodbye.
All right.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.